Hello there, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Cassie, and this is Cass in Hand, a platform for individuals and entrepreneurs who are looking to level up their personal finance, take charge of their income, decrease their debts, and build wealth. Now, if you aren't already, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and look forward to my videos every single week. One of the major things that a lot of couples or a lot of partners would have to decide once they come together is whether they would like to have a joint account or maintain their separate bank account. Now, obviously, with a decision like this, you have to take into consideration a lot of factors. Now, there isn't any right or wrong decision, and over the past few weeks, I've received a couple of questions from some of my followers and some of my friends asking whether they and their partners should combine their accounts. So I share a video on what my thoughts are, the pros and cons of each decisions that they could make, and basically help people to navigate their choices regarding joint bank accounts. Now, obviously, one thing I want to make clear is that there isn't a right or wrong decision. Every decision that you make, you'd have to face the results or the consequences that comes with it. And obviously, once you're able to come together and understand the parameters of your decisions regarding these things, you'll be able to know which one is exactly right for you and your partner. Obviously, I'm going to start with the decision of having a joint bank account, starting with the pros. Now, once you have a joint bank account as a couple, this means that you're both combining your money together in one account with both your names on it. What banks usually in the UK does is that they give each partner a card with their name on it, but it's basically towards the same account. The account has the same account number, it has the same sort code, it has the same loan card number or whatever, but it's just one account in both of their names. This way, both couples have equal authority over the account. They're able to make financial decisions for that particular account and make sure that everything that they do is seen by the other account. So basically, there is full transparency between the two. All the money in the account is seen by all purchases, everything done on the account will be visible to both parties. Now, starting with the pro, the primary advantage of having a joint bank account as a couple is that both of you are aware of where all your money is. You're both aware of each other's income. You see how much each other earn and what you spend your money on. Now, this creates a sort of transparency where none of you guys are looking forward or seeing to where partner is spending their money or where their money is going. You don't ask questions about who's going to pay the bills or who's going to buy what, because you see it clearly coming out of the account and you're able to see exactly what is being paid and what's not being paid. What happens as well is that if there's anything that needs to be sorted in the house, one of you is able to just take the account and buy it or sort it out without thinking that you may need to explain yourself to your other partner. Now, one thing that this creates is that you're both able to track where all your money is going. So at the end of the month, you can both decide to sit down and analyze your spending together and access your transactions and everything together. You're able to see clearly what each other is doing, advise each other accordingly, and maybe make better financial decisions because two heads are better than one. The second thing that happens with this type of account is that by having access to the account in cases of emergency, you or your partner is able to access the funds immediately and use it towards the necessary requirements. Obviously, you won't have to then go call your husband or call your wife and say, could you transfer me this much to help me pay for that? Or, we need to sort out this gas bill or whatever. You're able to just immediately access the money and pay for it without waiting for your other spouse to transfer the money to you, because you both, as I mentioned earlier, have the same cards and it has the same account, and so you're using it and you're able to see it. Another pro that I want to talk about is that there's a limited chance or a small chance of you guys having any financial surprises where you question your partner on what purchase that they have made or what they're doing with their money, because as I mentioned earlier, you can see exactly what is happening and maybe even call their attention to it if anything is confusing, or you can't see some sort of payment, or you're confused about something. You can call them immediately. You're not waiting to say, how much did you spend this month, or how much did you buy this thing for? You can see it clearly, so there's no surprises anywhere. If your partner wants to buy a bag or buy a table or buy a dining set for the house, you don't question whether they spent all the money on there, or they kept half of it, or they kept a change in their pockets. You're able to see exactly how much they spent, so there's fewer surprises. Another important aspect of having a joint bank account as a couple is in a case of legal terms. In the event of one spouse passing away, the other spouse is able to access all the funds in the account You wouldn't have the hassle of having to wait for the will to be read, or dealing with the legal terms, or waiting for, the legalities to go over, especially in such a difficult time where you may need funds. Because it's already together, you're able to access your spouse's account and help with the family in any area that you can. Also, even with the preparation of their funeral or anything, you have access to the funds. You don't have to wait until after the funeral before you are able to secure the funds after the will reading. So these and many more are the reasons why most couples may choose to have a joint account. Creates transparency. You're able to help each other make joint financial decisions together. You're able to, come together and make huge milestones like purchasing a house, because you know exactly how much you've got in the account and how much more you need to put towards it to help it as well. Whilst having a joint bank account can simplify your money management system, of course, with every decision, there's always a bad side or a downside to it. Most couples, obviously, having joint accounts, have had to move to the separate bank account route because of a few issues that I want to throw up in here. So here are the cons of having a joint account, that some couples may choose not to have it because they don't want to suffer these consequences. Now, one spouse may feel some loss of financial independence. Of course, you both coming together, you each had a separate bank account, and so you managed your financial affairs separately. Now, obviously, if you decide to have a joint account, you're creating a transparency where each spouse will see exactly where you're spending your money, and you would have to obviously provide explanation as to where you spent the money or how much you spent on a certain occasion. Some people may feel that they've lost their independence when it comes to having authority over their money that they may have worked for. And so they don't want anyone to question them on that. And so some couples may find that difficult. It might create disagreements when one couple feels like they're constantly being questioned and the other has freedom or autonomy over the account. Now, if you have to constantly justify or explain a purchase, it might put a strain on the union, or it might put a strain on the relationship, and you might find that over time some couples may start hiding their purchases and start lying about them, and it just creates a whole misunderstanding that you could avoid by keeping maybe a separate bank account. Another problem that could arise with joint accounts is when one couple maybe enters the relationship with debt. It could be student loan debt, it could be personal loans, it could be car finance loans, it could be a lot of different loans that that are out there. And if you're entering a joint bank account and one couple is in maybe £10,000 debt, and you have to now pay it through the joint account, one couple may feel like they're having to spend their income on another person's debt that they didn't even use at the time, or they weren't even there for the expenditure of that money. And so it might put a strain on the relationship. Obviously, if you're entering into a joint bank account and you've got any student loans or any other debts that are outstanding, you obviously want to sit down with your partner and explain to them exactly what would be coming out of the account and how you could overcome that sort of situation, because it's quite difficult, especially if I'm working and earning a certain amount and you have entered into a debt, and now all my income is going towards your debt and I don't even have a debt. That could create a huge problem in the marriage, or in the union, or between you as a couple. So that's an area that you want to check as well. Another couple could also feel resentment, especially if they're earning a higher income than their partner, and they see that maybe their partner maybe spends a lot of money on a certain area. It could be debt, as mentioned earlier. It could be even in their transport services, even in their travel, even in the taking care of the house. They may be spending a lot more, and it might feel like the other person's income is just being used on the other person. And so what happens is that it creates resentment. And so as a couple, if you want to have a joint account, this is an area that you want to check and ensure that you're setting clear boundaries in these areas. You're creating a budget for all of these expenses and making sure that you're not eating into the other partner's income a lot, and ensuring that they have freedom and autonomy over it to a certain degree, so that they don't feel completely lost. Now, another major problem with joint accounts that I want to talk about in the area of the negative is in the case where the marriage or the union ends, and it creates a huge dilemma, because you have a joint account and both parties have access to all the funds. One partner might decide to be evil and go and withdraw all the funds or transfer the funds to another account, and because they have the authority and power to transfer the account without being questioned by the bank, it might create that sense of loss where the other partner is left with nothing. And so that is something that you have to take into account. Do you trust someone to have complete control over your money without you not having the ability to, you know, have access to it. Of course, it helps in the sense when you're sick or you're unable to do anything, they're able to then withdraw the funds for you. But then also in the area of where they may decide to run away with your money or do something with your money, I'm not saying that that would happen, but that is something that you want to consider. Are they people that you trust them fully to have access to all your accounts, all your money, and all your hard works earned? To be able to use it wisely in your absence or should any issue arise? Are they able to sit down with you and have an amicable, solution to any cessation of your marriage or union? Now, obviously, in areas like this, the way that we counteract that is when you create a prenup before the union starts or even before you get married. That way, if both parties separate, you're both entitled to all your income separately, and lawyers are able to then help you in ensuring that all your assets are divided accordingly, so it doesn't create any form of, disparities or conflicts between the families. Now, managing your personal finances as a couple is a personal decision. No one has to decide that for you. You both have to sit down and understand and know what exactly would work for you. There is no right or wrong choice when it comes to this. It's just making sure that you make the right decision that would benefit both of you and ensure that your money doesn't create problems in your union. Of course, when you choose to have the joint bank account or even the separate one, you still have to sit down and communicate about your financial decisions and your financial choices. You still have to put heads together and put money towards similar things. And so each way that you decide, you will still need to discuss your financial decisions with your partner. Now, you can both try out a few strategies and see which one works best for you. Since you both have separate bank accounts coming together, you could choose to maintain the separate bank accounts and start merging things slowly together. Now, obviously, on the other hand, you could try both. You don't have to necessarily choose one. You could maintain separate bank accounts for your own income and then put some of that money towards a joint bank account where all your house expenses and all your future financial decisions that you would make together, those finances will go through that account. And so you both can then manage it. It doesn't have to be this or that. You can choose both and slowly merge it together. If you see that slowly merging it helps with you, then you can continue to then progress to having a joint bank account completely for you both for all your money or all your financial decisions. It's all up to you. So there you have it, lovely people. These are my thoughts and my suggestions on whether or not you should open a joint bank account. Of course, if you have any extra info to add or any extra advice, please leave it in the comment section below so that whoever is thinking about it can then see your comments as well and put it in the consideration. Of course, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and share this video with friends and family and help my community grow. See you next week. Bye, guys.